Hey guys, it's Gabe. Just wanted to do a quick update because I'm trying to update more frequently. Well, I just spent the morning watching FTM YouTube videos, which is something that as a transition update, is worth noting. I don't do anymore, like ever. So I'm basically never on YouTube, and it used to be something that I was on like probably every day, catching everyone's videos. Um, so basically, I just spent the morning kind of catching up on some of the people that I've been watching for a few years now, and I was kind of I don't know, it made me kind of nostalgic and brought me back to the mind space that I was in when I was just kind of starting my journey, and essentially helped me reflect on um, what my expectations were for my transition at that point, and showed me how different they are from the reality that I've currently got, being almost about 2.5 years on testosterone, 2 years 8 months. So um, one thing that stood out most starkly as I was watching people's videos um, is I still had a little bit of that transition jealousy. I don't know if any of you guys have experienced that, being pre-transition and going on and watching these guys' videos. They kind of act as mentors and really psych you up for a lot of what transition has to offer. But then conversely, you're like really insanely jealous about how far along they are, and how many amazing things their transition is doing for them, physically and otherwise. And I found that surprisingly, I definitely still had a lot of that sensation. Um, and so it kind of made me first question why, and secondly come to terms with the fact that I still got a little bit of work to do regarding just deep rooted insecurity issues that might actually have nothing to do with transition, but might just be like a general self esteem thing. I mean, I'm sure that having self esteem issues and being trans are probably very linked, for me. Um, but now that I'm as far along in transition as I am, I think I have more control over the personal work that I do in order to overcome some of those insecurities just mentally, and just kind of come to a space where I can love where I am right now. Because I noticed that, like, um, this expectation that I had for testosterone before I started, and while I was watching everyone's videos, was that I expected testosterone to make me beautiful. Um, and by that I mean, like, I expected to feel like more handsome, more physically attractive, and I do, but I think that I expected testosterone to change me in dramatic ways that didn't actually happen. Um, it's I, it feels sometimes as though the stakes for my level of physical attractiveness have gotten higher since transition. On one hand, my physicality, and my body and my face and my voice and everything align so much more with my idea of how I want to be perceived, and how I want to look, and the kind of attractiveness I want to possess. But it's also a bit of a blow going from, and I've heard other guys express this sentiment, going from um, someone who was, generally a good-looking, sort of masculine, genderqueer presenting person, to going to someone who's perceived as a cis het male, um, and therefore the kind of attractiveness that, like, it's a different box to fill as far as what's sexy, essentially. um, Cis het um, male standards of attractiveness tend to be more around size and musculature and being big and being assertive, and a lot of those things that I don't subscribe to anyways, but sometimes it can be hard to distinguish, um, uh, well, just to separate yourself from the desire to live up to those standards physically, because a lot of that also ties into dysphoria, right? So the ways that I don't the ways that I see myself not living up to those standards, I inevitably connect to having a female past and having a female, what used to be a female body. So my musculature or my bone structure is smaller, so I can't achieve the same kinds of gains that a cis man would. Or I was born with wider hips, so I can't necessarily slim those down as much as I could if I was, and all of those sorts of contemplations tend to be more linked to my trans experience and dysphoria, whereas for a cis man, not living up to those standards, it would simply be an insecurity thing, and wouldn't compound necessarily. So that's something that I've just been noticing that I kind of deal with on a day-to-day basis, and how the standards of beauty have changed for that. But then I notice, when I watch other guys' videos, my jealousy tends to come from, well, look at how good that guy looks. Look at, yeah, like different things that I feel like I don't have. Like, look at how dark that guy's beard is. Look at how muscular he is. Look at how tall he is. Look at his hair, like body hair or the hair on his head. I find that dealing with balding has really impacted further, I guess, my self-esteem, but then also just the expectations that I had for myself on testosterone being these dramatic changes. Like, for whatever reason, I'd have a dark beard, which doesn't make sense because I'm a fair guy, or it would make my shoulders even broader, or my neck so thick, or I just have like this hyper masculine physical appearance, and that hasn't been the case. So dealing with balding has been like another kind of surprise way that testosterone hasn't lived up to these ridiculous expectations I had for it to make me a super babely dude, And I know that all of this sounds quite disparaging, and I feel, when I really, really think about it, like I'm at the most attractive I've ever been in my life, and I feel like an attractive person, and my self-esteem is much higher than it's ever been before. But I just noticed that I have a little bit of confronting to do with some of the disparities between my expectations early on in transition and where I currently am. And I think I need to do a little bit of personal work around kind of rocking what I've got, rather than continuing to fixate on these things that I continually expected up until very recently testosterone to do for me. It's just an interesting place I'm coming to in my transition, in that I'm finally starting to see that some of those things actually aren't ever going to happen. And it seems like a more healthy approach to be doing more of the mental work of coming to terms with yourself and your lived experience and your body, rather than continuing to naively hope for those things to magically change. Because testosterone changes you, but it's definitely not some sort of magical spell that's going to turn you into everything you've ever desired you could be. So, yeah, I don't know. I hadn't really talked about that too much before, and I just wanted to do a little bit more of an update that was, about some transition thoughts I've been having. So, I'll check in with you guys again soon, and, yeah, I hope everyone has a great week. See ya.